boss.
我说的你听到了没有？
In contrast to what you're thinking, a Chinese boss doesn't yell. In fact, they rarely lose their cool. They're usually humble looking and smiling most of the time, and just looks kind of approachable. But don't be mistaken, because they usually have someone who does all the dirty work for them. With that being said, in China, you do not question the boss. I repeat, you do not question the boss. It doesn't matter how you feel that he's not right and his plan is doomed to fail. Keep your suggestions to yourself. But should you feel that it's really, really important, and maybe somehow if he goes ahead with this plan, we're all gonna burn down, okay, fine. Then approach him privately. And I repeat, privately. This is because in China, there's something called 掉面子. It means losing face, literally. It just means embarrassment. So a boss really feels humiliated and offended whenever a worker points out something. I really don't know why this happens. But anyway, just go there privately and raise your concerns. And don't forget to cross your fingers, hoping that you will get your job tomorrow. So if I asked you to describe Chinese bosses in one word, what would you say?
I'll say they are impromptu.
Impromptu bosses?
Yeah.
介绍中国的老板。Rich.
Rich.
Mean.
What?
Mean.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Clever.
Clever, yeah. 是不是非常聪明？是的。Okay. And a Chinese boss is very result oriented. He doesn't care the procedures, he doesn't care what you do to achieve the target, but he sets a target, you should meet it. If you are a nurse, he said you should see 100 patients, you should see 100 patients. It doesn't matter if one patient had 6 ailments, it doesn't count. It's the numbers that count.
I'll say they are impromptu.
Impromptu bosses?
Yeah.
Why so?
Because like when you're done with your work and sometimes you're home, you are doing your own stuff. They can even call you any minute, and they want you to go to the office, or they want you to go back to work. Probably, maybe I think they're supposed to prepare you before that, but they don't do that. They just call you, and you're supposed to be in the office.
Rushing.
Rushing and something like that.
Do some tasks.
Yeah.
Okay, so impromptu bosses or random bosses?
Impromptu bosses.
Impromptu bosses or random bosses? I say random bosses.
Random bosses.
Okay, impromptu bosses. Okay, which one? Okay, so
impromptu bosses.
Impromptu bosses. Okay. And earlier on, I talked about a person who does the dirty work for the boss. And I think this is where he comes in. And sorry, I keep saying he, because he will have to do almost anything just to be able to meet this target. And as I said, it's the numbers that count. So he will push the workers to whatever extent just to see results. And can you believe it? In the morning, as early as 6, you will see people working out or just dancing outside a building. And for me, before, I used to think that these people are cool, they just like to work out. This is a very healthy thing because this kind of gives them a positive attitude towards work this early in the morning. But then turns out, after asking around, after asking a few people, it's all about promotion. It's all about marketing. So we are meant to see them dancing and you think, oh, hey, why are they dancing? Oh, there's a restaurant there. Okay, I could just go in and have breakfast there. And here's a funny thing for you. They tried to do this in Africa and it went really, really bad. First of all, I don't know if you've heard that there are a lot of Chinese people now moving to Africa, maybe some of them to invest, others constructing railways or whatever construction they're doing, or others just moving in. So now you can imagine a Chinese boss gathering his workers and telling them to just stand outside the project and start doing jumping jacks and push-ups. And oh my goodness, this did not go well. It was really bad. And especially this was such a bad timing because it came at a time where the allegations of China colonizing Africans had started. I don't know about that, but I can tell you that was such a bad timing. They could not understand it. No. They could not take it. This was really bad. But the ambassador tried to explain that this just signifies unity and bonding, and it's just healthy or whatever. I can tell you Africans did not buy it. And talking about time, a Chinese boss is really obsessed with time. And of course, I know, yeah, we should report to work on time. Yes, I'm not arguing about that and I'm not bothered about that. But what bothers me is a Chinese boss doesn't care much about you reporting to work. It's the leaving that worries him. Do not leave until your working hours are out. Do not leave even a minute early. It doesn't matter even if there's nothing happening in the company, you're not working at all. Just stay there. Think about your dinner, what you're going to cook for dinner. Buy potatoes, peel them. Buy your carrots, peel them. Need a sweater or even sleep. But just make sure you do not leave before the clock hits. Even 1 minute counts. However, this doesn't go both ways because the moment the clock ticks, it's time to go home, but yet you get more work to do. You're expected to make calls, you're expected to continue marketing, and you will be receiving messages whereby you're expected to reply. And it's very surprising because comes next Monday, people have new figures and you're like, oh, didn't we have a weekend off? Yes, they had a weekend off, but they did extra work. Why? Because this boss is very smart. He motivates people by awarding them with money. However, this is the money collected from you guys. Chinese bosses will always find an excuse to deduct your money. And this really annoys most people. I think you're late for 1 minute, deduct. I don't know, you did not satisfy a certain customer, deduct. This finally ends up to be a substantial amount of money which can be awarded to the best worker. And if you're not annoyed yet, here's something that will really piss you off. They're called makeup holidays. This means whenever there's a holiday coming, we will need to work over the weekend just to be able to make up for that work. This means at some point you might need to work a whole week straight, non-stop, just to be able to cover for that work, for that holiday that you will not be in. It's okay if there's no holiday, rather than making it seem like, oh, there's a holiday, but you will need to work. What a holiday by your definition? Oh my goodness. I know you're already wondering, what about contracts? Are there no contracts at all? Yes, there are contracts, but these contracts often turn out to be very ambiguous. They will be having some clauses up there that says, oh, you will be responsible for all promotion activities and marketing activities of this company. But what they don't tell you is, to what extent can this promotion activity go? To what extent can I do this? Do I have to do this marketing activity? So don't be surprised when you get handed a teddy bear costume and told to stand outside a mall and dance, and it's gonna be 35 degrees hot. So this contract is not meant to tame the boss, but just to tame you.
这个是我们的产品，这个是我们的产品的套盒，是这样子的。
Okay, thank you.
体验装，你可以用一下。给予。
And lastly, a Chinese boss hopes for a long-term relationship with his or her workers. And so they usually invite you for dinners or lunches, I mean, once in a while. And anyway, who hates a free meal? So it's cool. But then things kind of change a little the moment you realize once you're late, you could get fined some money, or simply if you're absent, some money could get deducted from your pay. So just a heads up, be on time. And one more thing. Whenever you're having dinner or lunch with your boss, do not start eating until they begin. yeah, you're gonna look like a big idiot. I did that once and a friend actually slapped the spoon out of my hand, literally. So guys, that's the Chinese boss for you. And of course, I don't mean that they're all like that. There must be a few that do things differently. But in a normal situation, that's what you would expect to find. So guys, if you like this video, you know what to do. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.